I never thought my dream of quiet country living would turn into a full-blown nightmare. But there I was, standing on my porch in nothing but my underwear, hot coffee spilling over my hand as sheriff's deputies yelled through a megaphone for me to come out with my hands up, like I was some kind of criminal holed up in a bunker. 4 squad cars blocked my driveway, guns drawn, lights flashing, and behind them stood this smug woman in a crisp polo shirt, clipboard in hand, like she owned the damn world. Her name was Karen Whitaker, president of the Willow Creek HOA, and even though my 20-acre spread in rural Texas wasn't part of her precious neighborhood, I'd double-checked that with lawyers before buying. She'd decided I was enemy number 1, all because I wanted to live free, raise some goats, install wind turbines, and let my dogs, Max and Buddy, roam without her nosy rules breathing down my neck. It started innocently enough, or so I thought. I'd sold my tech startup at 42, cashed out, and bought this old ranch on the outskirts of Willow Creek to escape the city grind, craving that wide-open sky, fresh air, and the simple joy of building my own life without anyone telling me my fence was the wrong shade of brown. Peace, man. That's all I wanted, me, Jake Harlan, just a guy with 2 loyal labs and a dream of off-grid living. But Karen had other plans, driven by this twisted need to control everything around her fancy gated community. Maybe because her own life was so buttoned up and empty that bullying outsiders filled the void, or perhaps it was deeper, like jealousy over land she couldn't touch. Land that reminded her of what she'd lost when her family farm got swallowed by developments years ago. Whatever it was, she saw my independence as a threat to her power. The harassment kicked off subtle at first. Drones buzzing over my property at dawn, capturing footage of my goat pen and veggie garden, which I figured was some kid's prank until I spotted the same sleek model 3 mornings in a row, so I grabbed my pellet gun and brought it down with a satisfying crack. That afternoon, knock knock, there she was at my door. Karen, with her fake smile and pearl earrings, extending a hand like we were old pals. "You must be the new neighbor, Jake. I'm here to welcome you to the community," she said, but her eyes were cold, calculating. And when I mentioned I wasn't in the HOA, she just chuckled. "Oh, honey, everyone's part of something around here. We've had complaints about noise, unapproved structures, even your dog's barking too loud." I stared at her, coffee mug in hand. "Lady, I've got 4 goats and a couple pups, and my land's not yours to police." But she shoved a packet of violations into my chest, listing everything from improper renewable energy installations to livestock exceeding aesthetic standards. And as she turned to leave in her shiny golf cart, she tossed over her shoulder, "We'll work this out, or it'll work you out," her voice dripping with that passive-aggressive venom that makes your skin crawl. Things escalated fast after that. Fines showed up in my mail for things I never did. Packages vanished from my porch. My garden got stomped flat one night with boot prints leading straight from the road, and I started feeling that knot in my gut, like I was being watched, isolated, the outsider in a game I never signed up for. I installed cameras, filed a report with the sheriff, Deputy Morales, a good guy but overworked, who shrugged it off as Karen's just passionate about standards, probably a mix-up. But I knew better, especially when my footage caught her cart lurking on the hill at 2 a.m., headlights off, like a predator scouting prey. Deep down, it hurt. I'd come here for solitude after years of corporate stress, to heal from a divorce that left me questioning everything. And now this woman, fueled by her ego and maybe some buried resentment toward free spirits like me who didn't bow to her board's whims, was turning my haven into hell. The breaking point hit that sunny morning with the cops. They stormed my gate after Karen's anonymous tip about suspicious explosives in my shed, which was laughable since all I had in there was a chainsaw, some tools, and propane for the grill. But as they yelled orders, I stood frozen, heart pounding, until Buddy started barking wildly from behind the barn, and I bolted back there barefoot, gravel biting my feet, smoke rising from my generator where someone had jammed a rag soaked in accelerant, flames licking close to where Max was tied up, whimpering in terror. I doused it with a bucket from the rain barrel, pulled Max close, his fur singed, trembling against me, and in that moment, rage boiled up. Not just anger, but this deep, gut-wrenching realization that Karen's pettiness had crossed into dangerous territory, risking my dogs' lives, my home, all because she couldn't stand someone living outside her control. That's when I flipped the script. No more playing defense. I called my lawyer, Michael Reed, a sharp Austin vet with a no-nonsense vibe, who reviewed the deeds, the footage, and grinned. "She's got no claim, Jake, but if she's using HOA cash for this harassment, we nail her for abuse of power." We documented everything, built a taller fence with signs screaming private property, no HOA jurisdiction, added locked mailboxes, more cams, and when Karen filed a bogus county complaint about my turbines being commercial eyesores, leading to that raid, we struck back hard, drafting press releases with photos of the scorched generator, the fake violations, even a creepy text I'd gotten. Big land doesn't make you untouchable. Follow rules or face consequences. Michael pitched it to the local paper, the Willow Gazette, and boom, front page headline. Rancher harassed by HOA boss, but he's not even a member. My inbox flooded with support. Some from folks who'd tangled with Karen before, like how she'd fined a widow for a non-conforming flower bed or blocked a delivery truck on a public road just to flex. The highs rolled in. A state paper interviewed me. The sheriff reopened the case, and then Sarah, a former HOA insider, showed up at my door, nervous but determined, handing over a USB drive. Karen's got files on everyone, calls it the Rebel List, with drone pics, complaint templates, and she uses her cousin Derek Voss as her muscle, the fixer who handles the dirty stuff. We pored over it, emails plotting to neutralize outsiders who lowered property values, all tied to her fear that independent ranches like mine would scare off high-end buyers for her community's expansion dreams. And when my cams caught Derek sneaking up with a gas can one night, lights flooding him mid-stride, we had gold. But Karen didn't back down. My goats vanished from the pen, boot prints everywhere, then black boxes with threats. Dead squirrel inside one, a drone photo of my bedroom window in another, notes like, "Stay quiet or pay," her desperation peaking as her control slipped. We went nuclear, filed a suit for stalking, arson attempts, property damage, got a restraining order keeping her and Derek 500 feet away, and teamed up with a YouTuber, Alex Rivera, whose channel exposed HOA tyrants. We filmed on my porch, me reading her gaslighting letter aloud. "You're endangering our board with your hostility," she claimed, after nearly burning my place down. Then showed the empty goat pen, the threats, the footage. Title: HOA steals my goats. After I call them out, it exploded to 1 million views, comments raging, "That's not community, that's a cult," sparking more whistleblowers like Tom Ellis next door, whose kids got threatened with social services for noise pollution, or Emily Ford, whose horses were poisoned last year. Vet confirmed antifreeze. No justice until now. The web widened. A map slipped in my mail marked 5 properties. Mine last with a red X, others already hit. Calvin's goat farm foreclosed after endless fines. Davis's barn torched suspiciously. Laura's garage set ablaze after refusing a buyout. They weren't random, tied to Terra, a shadowy land grab network using HOAs as fronts to push folks off for developments. Karen just a cog in their machine, motivated by kickbacks and that intoxicating rush of power over non-compliers who dared live free. June 12th, the date scrawled in red, brought the climax. Alerts blared, cams catching a woman in black tagging my fence with survey flags. I confronted her in the dusk. "Who the hell are you?" She smirked. Karen was just the start. This land's earmarked for better things. Dropping a drive with Terra files. Emails, maps, recordings proving the conspiracy, her escape into the woods like a shadow. But we had it all. Raids followed. Sheriff hit Karen's office at dawn, cuffing her mid-coffee, uncovering burner phones, siphoned funds for enforcers like Derek, arrested fleeing to Mexico. She flipped, naming Terra higher-ups. Trials ensued, me testifying with Emily, Laura, Tom, the state dismantling the network piece by piece. Now months later, my ranch hums again. New goats munching grass, turbines spinning, Max and Buddy chasing butterflies. I've got peace, but earned through fire, forever changed, more vigilant, knowing freedom's fragile when greed lurks nearby. But here's the twist that still nags me. Was Karen a villain or a victim, groomed by Terra's promises, her pettiness amplified by a system that rewards control? Makes you wonder about the lines between protector and predator in these communities. What do you think? Was I right to fight back? Or should I have sold out early? Drop your stories below if you've battled an HOA nightmare, or debate if groups like Terra deserve exposure, or if they're just business as usual. Like, subscribe, share your take. Your voice might save someone's slice of heaven.